Hello, I am Chylli from Chylli, also known as Chai, and we are back for more depersonalization. Continuing with the Janus Spiral mod, the modded module, the English translation version. Last time we left off, we are about to go into the convenience store, so let's just get right in here. As soon as you entered the convenience store, you felt a piercing gaze fall on you, your hair standing on end. You turned rigidly, saying console, leaning against the counter. Console. Amon's memory told you the consequences of old Consel's anger were very serious. His brow was furrowed, his face full of wrinkles carved by time, his eyes with a clear irritation. Seeing you enter, he barely moved. Oh, you finally decided to wake up. He spoke with disdain, with a touch of sarcasm. You opened your mouth, wanting to explain something, but thinking of the experience of speaking with Vanessa, you obediently fell silent. His voice grew louder. Do you know what time it is? The cargo ship has already docked. The cargo is still piled up on the pier. Where were you? Yesterday I told you I needed your help today, and what happened? Forgot about work again? If the goods don't arrive, how's my shop going to open? He approached you, pointing out your nose, and continued. Did I work so hard to maintain this shop so you could take over and work without problems? But look at you. Now you don't even remember your own responsibilities? Do you care about this family? His voice echoed through the shop. The employee standing at the cash register listened to the boss's scolding, staring into space, as if it had nothing to do with him. I'm old, it's just the two of us left in this family. Can't you give me a little peace? Seeing you with your head down, his tone softened a bit, and he sighed, saying, Oh, forget it. Just go to the pier and bring the cargo. Don't be like this next time. You nodded, raised your eyes and looked at him, noticing a glint of weariness in his eyes. Okay, Dad, I'm going. Upon hearing your words, he paused and then waved his hand, turned around and sat down, grumbling. Seriously, young people today give no peace. The figure of the old man in front of you was more stooped than 10 years ago. His once black hair was already sprinkled with silver strands. 10 years of wind and sun by the sea had eroded him like a rock, without the vigor of before. When Consel turned around, you noticed a strangely shaped key hanging from his waist. It's better to just go to the pier right away. A map location has been opened. Origin Street has been unlocked. I got it from a customer when I was traveling through the city of Janus. I don't really know how to pronounce that. He told me he was going to retire and wanted to get rid of the things he had. When he gave it to me, he even said some strange things like having dreamed of the golden lion. Okay, I imagine we're going to need that for later. Hey, this convenience store is great. It has practically everything I want. But it's a shame that last week's donuts seem to be sold out. Sorry, ma'am. This week the shop hasn't received the goods yet. So you're the owner's son, right? Well, then you have to ask the manager to hurry up. My son loves those. Lately, he's been working late at the police station. I wanted to bring him some to try. What is it? A customer was very satisfied with our shop, and she mentioned that her donuts are sold out. Okay, I understand. Great, you're caring about the shop. Hansel nodded at you, satisfied. Oh, and one more thing. If she wants, the vending machine on the beach has them. What is it? Have something to say? Alrighty then, we got some interesting items there. Now we can do some more things over here. Okay, seems like that is the wrong key. The key we need is kind of silver, unlike the one we got here. It said you could get donuts from the vending machine on the beach, but I suppose it's probably talking about a different beach then. Alright, yeah, since we just gotta go ahead here. You arrived at Origin Street, adjacent to the port, the air impregnated with the salty taste of the sea breeze. The wind, which had picked up at some point, made everything creak. A few pedestrians hurried by, all busy getting home. You first wanted to find the location of the port to complete Concel's task as quickly as possible. However, an inexplainable sense of unease arose in your heart. The curtain was about to rise, the stage, the actors, and the audience were already present. You looked at the sky. At some point, dark clouds had already gathered silently, covering the previously clear sky. Thunder rolled in the clouds like the roar of a giant beast. Large drops of rain began to fall, hitting your face and head. At that moment, a deafening sound came from the direction of the coast, the earth beneath your feet trembling. Screams everywhere, your heart sank. Without a second thought, you ran quickly toward the source of the sound. The sea breeze became more violent, the rain increased, blurring your vision. When you reached the beach, the scene before you left you speechless. A huge cargo ship was listing on the sand, the hull severely overturned, the slanted rain beating on its exterior, washing the wounded beast. Its head was covered by thick clouds, dark as ink. Only the occasional lightning tore through the sky, illuminating the ruined hull. The ship's hull was covered in deep dents and cracks. The steel plates twisted and deformed as if twisted by a giant. The mast was like a broken winged bird, the sails tattered in the wind, emitting a sharp tearing sound. The waves were turbulent, roaring with the help of the wind, crashing against the beach cargo ship, rising high and falling hard. The bent metal groaned stridently under the enormous impact, telling a silent sadness. On the deck, the originally secured cargo boxes were devastated by the wind and rain, rolling and moving with difficulty, colliding with the ship's walls, emitting a muffled sound of distress. Shards of glass and cargo were scattered everywhere, the scene looking like the end of the world. Your heart was beating violently, as if it were about to jump out of your chest. The cold rain beat mercilessly on your face, running down your forehead, mixed with sweat, blurring your vision. You stared fixedly at the scene before you, realizing it was not an ordinary accident. The deep cracks in the twisted hull were definitely not caused by a simple collision or by anything you could recognize. Remembering the various strange signs before, fear and doubt stirred in your heart. Perhaps the sudden disaster was heralding a deeper crisis. You felt a chill run up your spine, biting your scalp. The rain fell harder and harder. Drops the size of beans hit on the sand, raising layers of mist. The sky and earth seemed to be left with only an endless darkness. The strong wind pulled at your clothes, the howl like the cry of ghosts trying to swallow all the voices of the living. You involuntarily take a step back, your shoes sinking into the soft sand. The surrounding scene became distorted and blurred in the torrential rain. Only the beach cargo ship still stood like a lonely tombstone. You took a deep breath and decided to enter the cargo ship. After all, it wasn't just about the loss of cargo. Perhaps it involved some deeper unknown. You carefully approached the cargo ship lying on the sand, the ship's belly with a huge gaping mouth, silently waiting for the approaching explorer. It's terrifying. You held the railing, took a deep breath, trying to calm your mind. The broken railing and scattered ropes everywhere indicated the previous chaos. The ship's hull swayed slightly in the wind and rain, as if it were about to turn over again at any moment, just like when you rode a pirate ship as a child. Arriving at the cracked opening of the hold, the twisted metal edges shone coldly. With a little light, you could only see a dark interior, the air of the hold impregnated with a pungent smell of seawater and diesel mixed with a faint, indescribable smell of rot. You saw no signs of life or heard the cries for help from the injured. Where did the people on the ship go? A troubling question grew in your heart. You carefully passed through the wreckage and entered the deep hold. The surrounding walls were covered with water stains and cracks. Broken instruments and pipes hung from the ceiling, weaving an abandoned spider's web. On the floor scattered were broken boxes and debris, your feet occasionally kicking some metal fragments, emitting sharp sounds. The light inside the hold was dim. Only when a lightning bolt tore through the sky could it briefly illuminate everything through the damaged walls of the ship. Each thunderclap was a heavy hammer hitting your chest. You held your breath, hearing only the roar of the wind and rain and your own racing heart. Continuing to explore, your gaze swept the interior of the hold, trying to find any sign of abnormality. The navigation map on the wall only had half. The compass with the steel pointer was tilted to the side. On the table were scattered soaked logbooks, the handwriting already blurred. The bloodstains on the floor spread silently, which was not a good sign. Suddenly, a faint sound came and you couldn't distinguish what it was. It sounded like a whisper coming from deeper inside, mixed with the sound of the wind, almost imperceptible. You stopped, sharpened your ears to identify it again, but couldn't hear clearly. A hint of unease arose in your heart as if something unknown was watching you in the darkness. Ahead, there was a half-open hold door, the paint peeling. You hesitated for a moment but decided to go there. Holding the cold, damp handle, your palm sweated slightly. Gently pushing the door, a smell of mold and rot hit you. The interior was darker than outside, but you could vaguely see a large box in the corner, apparently covered on purpose. On the floor there were irregular water stains and drag marks as if someone or something had moved through here. You saw that one side of the box was broken. The glass medicine containers inside had already rolled out. The container was also already broken. You could see the contents had disappeared, leaving only splash marks on the floor. A heavy gurgling and panting sound exploded in your ear. The breath of death almost on your face. Your heart skipped a beat almost in an instant. By instinct, you lowered your head and a breeze scraped past your scalp. Clang, a sound of metal hitting metal echoed in the darkness. Without the slightest hesitation, you ducked and immediately rolled to the side to distance yourself from the attacker. Your palm hurt as it scraped against the rough floor, but the crisis before you gave you no time to worry about it. Then you smelled a rotten egg smell. Thinking about the sound of the metal strike just now, you guessed that perhaps the gas pipe on the ship had been punctured. If you used a firearm in the next battle, you would be cremated. You realized that in such a dark environment, you couldn't see the enemy's whereabouts. Fighting with whatever is in here was not a wise decision. Come on, I have to see what it is. I can't run away right now. Well, shit, I think we're kinda dead here. The issue is they also roll really high on their dodge rolls. Okay, we need to first aid with both of our characters here to heal a little. I see why they would want to add an easy mode. This is really difficult. After defeating the inhuman monster, you gritted your teeth and gathered your last drop of strength, climbing the ladder and finally reaching the deck. The icy water was already flooding your calves, the deck shaking violently. Clearly, the hole was gradually sinking. You look back at the shore, and a sinister premonition arose in your heart. Because of the strong wind and giant waves, you are now a certain distance from the coast. With no other choice, you took a deep breath and jumped into the water. The cold enveloped you instantly. The sea, with the connivance of the wind, beat incessantly on your body. The icy water, like a heavy chain, pressing you to the point where you could barely breathe. You swam hard, trying to reach the shore, but the previous battle had already exhausted your strength. Swallowed by the giant waves over and over again, you emerge with difficulty, gasping for air. And suddenly, a sharp pain shot up from your calf. The muscle instantly cramping, you realized desperately that you had a cramp. The excruciating pain and loss of control made your consciousness blur. Your mouth and nose began to fill with water. Your vision was gradually swallowed by the deep blue. Your arms struggling desperately to stay afloat, but each moment was weaker than the last. Death slowly placed its scythe on your neck. Is this where it all ends? Your eyes closed slowly, reluctantly. Confused, you seemed to hear someone shouting. Suddenly, a force came from behind you, a hand firmly gripping your arm. You felt yourself being dragged, and then a life buoy was placed on you. With your body being pulled up, approaching the surface, the blurry world became clear. You suddenly took a deep breath, opened your eyes, and discovered it was Vanessa. With her long, wet, white hair stuck to her face, she was using the rope tied to herself to pull you to shore. You were unable to understand why Vanessa was here, but at this moment she was firmly holding you, who was falling to your death. You never thought that her body, which seemed so small and fragile, could play tug-of-war with death. With her help, you both swam with all your might toward the shore, the wind and waves still turbulent, but Vanessa pulled you firmly, swimming hard. Finally, you managed to get back to shore, collapsing on the sand, panting. It took a while for you to catch your breath, pressing your cramping calf. How did you get here? Vanessa, sitting on the sand, waved her hand weakly. I was looking for my dad. I was going to see if he was at the clinic on Origin Street, and then I saw the ship explode, she said, panting, supporting her waist. The wind and rain has passed, and a crowd of onlookers gathered around. The sound of police sirens came late. A man in uniform who ran to the scene looked at the cargo ship broken in two on the beach. He widened his eyes, shouting in disbelief. What happened here? The police in stories are always so useless. You look at the uniformed man in front of you in silence. The man in the police uniform in front of you examined you, proudly making an assessment. Amon, when the ship exploded, you must have been the first person to arrive here. In a little while, I'll have some questions for you. Please cooperate. Excuse me, but who are you, sir? Sheriff Leach looked at you, surprised. What do you mean? Although we haven't met many times, at least we've seen each other a few times. Sorry, lately I've been a bit forgetful. Please forgive me, Sheriff. This is not a suitable place for questioning. As the first witness, please accompany me back to the police station for a statement. Considering your physical condition, I will first ask the paramedics to take care of your injuries. Then I will secure the area and get general information from the people around. Then you come with me. Hey, Sheriff, how can you do that? He's a victim and you're still taking him? Vanessa, you need to know that this is all standard procedure. I have to question everyone involved. Vanessa could only close her mouth reluctantly. While the sheriff isn't finished, it's better to find something to do. The teleportation function is temporarily disabled. Yeah, that fight was really difficult, honestly. There we go, those are the donuts I wanted. The sheriff told me to wait for him after he finished understanding the situation. It's better if I don't wander around. I'm sorry, Amon. I can't help with anything. She looked anxiously at the terrible wounds on your body, blaming herself. Don't say that, Vanessa. The situation just now was very dangerous. I don't want you to get hurt because of me. If something happened to you because of me, I might not be able to forgive myself. So please, don't get hurt, okay? Saying this, you reached out to touch her head out of habit. After all, that's how you used to comfort her. But she took a step back, dodging your hand, and looked at you with narrowed eyes. Amon, you're very strange today. You said, very opportunely, that you heard Sheriff Leach calling you, evasively changing the subject. Okay, I'll go with you to the police station after you finish your statement. It's over, and the city's good transportation depended on that ship. Normally, nothing happened. How did it crash today? He saw I still really don't know how to pronounce that. I figure it's Consel. He saw Consel waiting on the side as he talked with Sheriff Leach, who was smoking, unconsciously tapping his foot. When you finished talking, he approached. Are you okay, Amon? Consel looked at you, his voice trembling slightly. I'm fine, but the cargo seems... Consel raised an eyebrow. What nonsense. Is the cargo more important than your safety? Then he told Consel everything that happened in detail. When mentioning the monsters on the ship, Consel, who was complaining about your recklessness, involuntarily twitched his face. You what? The crew turned into zombies? What did they look like? I know it might be hard to believe, but what happened was the monsters appeared. This can't be. You saw the gray-haired old man mutter, incredulous, and then he warned you in a grave tone. Next time you encounter something like this, don't take risks, understand? You could see the worry in his eyes. You were the only relative Consel had left. You were sure that if something happened to Amon, he wouldn't be able to accept it. I understand, Dad. In a bit I have to go to the police station to give a statement with Sheriff Leach. Consel made a disdainful sound and said, I understand. After you take care of that, go home and rest well. You don't need to come to the shop for the next few days. I will treat you. Please do not move. The explosion of the cargo ship was so scary, I didn't even dare to go out. You saw a figure dressed in white surplice standing on the shore, silently looking at the sea. Most of his appearance was hidden, only a calm, middle-aged man's voice came out from under the hood. Hello, I assume you're old Consel's son, Amon, right? Let me introduce myself. My name is Naya. I am the priest here. In Amon's memory, he didn't seem to have gone to the town's church much. It seemed to be the first time he had seen this priest. Hello, if I'm not mistaken, this must be our first time meeting. Consel sometimes comes to the church. He told me about you. You can see that he's not very good at expressing his feelings for you. You're confused. Why is the priest talking to you about Amon's family problems? Just a friendly reminder, you can see that you've encountered an unusual danger. Think about the feelings of your loved ones before you act. You felt that the priest was hinting at something. Was this the common jargon of a charlatan? Or did he really know what you just experienced? But you couldn't read any emotion from the priest under the hood. You only felt that he was like a silent, nice guy without joy or sadness. And the stars have already reached the correct position. The key is about to open the door to everything. The fate of the twins is chaotic. Changes and disasters are about to fall upon this land. The town has not been at peace lately. Please be very careful. The priest's enigmatic words left you confused, but the most important warning, that Arnon was very dangerous lately, you understood. Thank you for your warning. If you have any questions about faith, you can come find me at the church on the mountain. Although there shouldn't be dangerous animals like grizzly bears around here, please be careful when climbing the mountain. So, I have other matters to attend to. Excuse me. Saying this, he made a strange gesture with his hand. May the stars guide our reunion. The mountain trail location has been unlocked. He seemed like quite a priest. It's just that this prayer gesture doesn't seem very common. Before I finish the questioning, please stay nearby, otherwise you know the consequences of not cooperating with the police. I want to take one more look around here and see if there's anything else we can do. Come on, let's go. You followed Leech to the police station. After registering your basic information, Sheriff Leech's expression became a bit more serious. So tell me, what was the situation when you discovered the cargo shipwreck? Sheriff Leech listened to your statement, tapping his pen on the notepad. My father asked me to go to the pier to pick up some goods. When I arrived at Origin Street, the weather wasn't good, it was about to rain. Everyone was in a hurry to get home. I thought I couldn't delay the shop's business, so I thought about unloading the goods quickly. But before I even got to the beach, I heard an explosion. And when I got to the beach, I found the cargo ship had exploded. So you didn't personally see how the ship exploded? No. Sheriff Leach stopped what he was doing. Then I have a doubt. Usually ordinary people don't approach an explosion like that, right? Or the first choice would be to call the police. However, he paused as if to pressure you, then he suddenly grabbed your shoulders and brought his face close to yours. People who came out to see what happened said that you seemed to have climbed onto the ship shortly after the explosion. And what's more, you got on the ship after the explosion, so what happened to you to get you injured? He gripped your arm where the wound left by the monster was. Leech's hawk-like gaze stared at you intently, capturing your every reaction. You knew that hiding was useless. Here's the thing, I saw the cargo ship explode and I figured the police would immediately secure the scene. Afterwards, it would be difficult to get the cargo. So I thought I'd try, since the cargo might not have been damaged yet. I got on the deck and found the crew had disappeared, and then you hesitated for a moment. Sheriff, I know that in modern society, talking about ghosts and demons is hard to believe, but please believe what I'm about to say next. If you don't believe me, you can go to the site to check the traces, extract evidence to prove I'm telling the truth. Leech looked at at your somewhat frantic appearance and your words. Unmoved, he said sternly, investigating the scene and extracting evidence is police work. You don't need to be worried about that. Confess the facts quickly. After entering the hold, I was attacked by something humanoid. Those two things were wearing crew clothes, but their faces and skin were rotten. Everything was bloody and disfigured, and they had claws. Have you ever seen Resident Evil? I suspect they all turned into zombies. I was not expecting just a straight up pop culture Resident Evil reference. But you didn't expect Leech not to refute your supernatural words. Instead, he frowned slightly. I understand. Describe their appearance to me in detail. After the interrogation, I've understood the general situation. As the first witness in the case, you cannot be ruled out as a suspect. Also, there may be a need for more information from you. Therefore, you cannot leave Arnon anytime soon. Understood? Yes, I understand. The phone rang opportunely. Leach picked up the phone and waved for you to leave. Hey, yes, I understand. No need anymore. With people in the police station, it wouldn't be a good to mess with things, right? You found a picture frame next to the cabinet, inside a family photo. You recognize it, more or less. The boy in the picture frame is Leach. As for the middle-aged man with his hand on the boy's shoulder, it looked very much like the boy must be Leach's father. The man was also wearing a police uniform. Although he was smiling, he could not hide the wrinkles on the corner of his eyes and the weariness. Was Leach's father also a sheriff? The sheriff's son has also become a sheriff. There isn't some shameful hereditary system here, right? Aren't you a mon? Why, after the statement, don't you just leave? Here's the thing, officer, I still wanted to ask you a few things. The case is our responsibility. You go home and quietly wait to be called. Come on, go. You're finally back. How was it? The police didn't cause any trouble, right? Seeing you leave, Vanessa, who was waiting anxiously, finally sighed in relief. Then she bent over weakly. Vanessa, what's wrong with you? Vanessa waved her hand lightly, forcing a smile, but her face was as white as paper, colorless. Her whole person looked like a dry leaf hanging from a tree in the wind, as if it would fall at any moment. Don't worry, it's my old illness. I'll go home, take some medicine and rest a bit, and I'll be fine. You watched Vanessa stagger away, your heart filled with worry. 10 years ago, you already knew that Vanessa was frail, seemingly having some congenital disease, unable to do intense exercise. It seemed that because she went into the sea to save you, her chronic illness has relapsed. Is it really safer to go back home in this state? Maybe it's a good idea to go to her house and check on her later. And I can now teleport again. Dang, my SP went down a ton there. A very cool-looking shotgun was silently sitting on the passenger seat. The long barrel and the matte surface of polymer material made you feel like hugging it. At this moment, should you? Alright, interesting. I wanna check that out and see exactly how it works here. Excuse me, what happened here? It's a crime scene. Unauthorized personnel, please leave immediately. The police officer looked at you, probably thinking you were a loafer, giving you a serious warning. Hey officer, I think you're new here, right? Actually, I'm very good friends with Sheriff Leach. So what if I'm new? I'm telling you, even if you're friends with one of the 4 heavenly kings, you have to leave. Forget it, it's better to avoid conflict. The police station is right next door. Wait, your mom usually buys things at the convenience store, right? Yeah, so what? You took out the donut. Originally, your mom wanted to buy this for you. She heard you've been working late, but now we're having a big promotion. We decided to give it to you for free. Oh, can't be helped. I've been working too much lately and can't go home. Alright, I'll tell you a little. But you have to promise not to spread it around. A few days ago, a resident of the apartment went crazy. No, to be more precise, he turned into some kind of non-human creature. Many people in the apartment were attacked. Although it sounds like something that only happens in sci-fi movies, unfortunately, if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would never believe such a thing exists in the world. And have you found the cause of the residents' madness? Not yet, so don't ask any more. Be careful, Laylee. Okay, thanks. Alright, I guess that's why Leech believed us so easily. Boss, didn't make key copies in here. Of course, you want just one or are you taking a dozen? Just one, and boss, you're quite the joker. Hey Amon, when did you become so boring? Wait a bit. John, here's the key. Still arguing with your uncle? By the way, the pipe you asked me to make 2 days ago. You didn't come to pick it up yesterday. If you hadn't told me, I almost would have forgotten. Take it. Seems like it was something the previous Amon did. I'm jealous of that old console. His son still remembers to give him a birthday present. Oh, if only my little one were as thoughtful as you. Don't tell console. The so-called surprise, right? Hey, no need to say, I get it, I get it. The door is locked. Okay, so we can't go into the hotel anyway. Originally, there shouldn't be herbs here, but because of the blessing of a certain god, they grew. Alrighty, and that is where I'm going to end it for today's video of depersonalization. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time when we continue with more. Until then, bye!